It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What's happening?
Today, I think we need to give a special birthday shout-out to a friend of the ladies of Your View. Her name is Sophia Dejo Moa. I'm so sorry, Sophia. I hope I got that right. Sophia is the MD of Property Matchmaker. She's also a fashion entrepreneur of Glam Girl by Sophia. I mean, she's such a wonderful, special friend of ours.
Yeah.
I can't help but wish her a wonderful birthday and happy anniversary as well.
So one of the reasons why she's special is because she hooked us up. You know, she's just, we recently met her, recently met her at a conference about 3 weeks ago. I was also at that conference.
A month ago.
Yeah, this day to the end. As usually stays to network and meet people. And she met her and, you know, told her about our events coming up. And she went all out
for us.
She's been an amazing person. Thank you so much. You're such a kind-hearted person.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. We love you. We appreciate your efforts towards the brand, Your View. God bless you. And I got to say happy birthday to my twins. Michael and Michelle are 9 years old today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael and Michelle.
In fact, Michael didn't really care what he was wearing. Michelle was all about what she's going to wear. I never took her to the store. So I bought her something, she didn't like it, she was crying, I was like, you know what, you better go and wear your uniform. I can't come and keep myself, I've tried my best. She was upset, even till this morning. She wasn't happy. She was like, I can't wear this. I'm like, some people don't have clothes, are you okay? So we had but at least finally she was fine, went to school today, and I'm happy for them. Happy birthday. Love you, Mommy loves you with all her heart and soul.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, the twins. Happy birthday.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I haven't said happy birthday to anybody. Two of you have spoken. So happy birthday, Sophia.
Yeah.
We met her. She has a very lively spirit. She's very chatty, intelligent. She's an entrepreneur. So the first time I met her, we talked about businesses, you know, and I'm like, okay, all right. She's good. Thank you so much for hooking us up. Thank you so much for coming all out for us. God bless you. This is your new age.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, anything happening for this weekend, Thursday, anything planned?
No, let me give you a small gist.
Okay.
So I usually give my kids mint notes because I always have mint notes for school.
Yeah.
So I got some change. I sent my sister to the market. So when she came back, she came with rough notes. So I had to give it to the boy. And he was like, I can't take this money.
Yeah.
I said, eh?
You don't live in Nigeria. Yeah, spoil them.
I said, eh?
Yeah, spoil them with me.
Oh, okay. I'll be looking for those dirty ones for you. So you don't know that this is money. This is Nigerian money. Is it because I always have mint? It was strange to him. That was the first time. Like,
in his hand.
I can't spend this. I said, well done.
That's interesting. All right, we're going to go on a quick break now. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Buhari, I'm battling to cope with last-minute pressure. Why we picked Akpabio by Shatima. Buhari seeks nod to pay $556 million, 98.5 million pounds, and 226 billion naira judgment debts. Niger airplane to fly. Oyo chieftaincy bill passed. Okay. Okay, and then I think I have one more. Sorry. State will no longer pay Paris Club refund. All right.
Major headline, Buhari, I'm battling to cope with last-minute pressure. So as we know, our current president is winding down on this administration, and he says he's under enormous pressure. So yesterday night, he was at the regimental dinner organized in his honor by the armed forces. And they did this at the newly commissioned Nigerian Armed Forces Mess in Asokoro, Abuja. And they said he came late, which is very unusual of him. And he says, see, I have to tell you, it's one activity to the other, and that's why I'm here late. But, you know, I cannot wait to get back to my hometown. But then he spoke to them. So he was meeting with the members of the armed forces. They said the very top military people were there, and all of them. And he said to them, he said he paid his tribute to them for their unwavering loyalty, their hard work, dedication, and selfless service to our beloved nation. And then he also said that that they should not relax until insurgency has been, you know, dealt with. He just said that they should remain resolute in the face of the country's security challenges. Just really appreciated them, the sacrifices that they have made for our country, and also encouraging them to not give up until, you know, we squash this insurgency. I'm really happy for our president that he's, you know, looking forward to leaving. Most people don't usually look forward to leaving, but he seems to be in a good place, so good for him.
See any stories?
So the ad hoc committee set up by the House of Representatives to investigate the volume of fuel consumed daily said yesterday that there is no data with the agencies of government of the actual volume of fuel consumed in the country daily. The committee also said the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation does not have the records of the amount of money set by the government on subsidy daily on fuel consumption. And this came as a result of the fact that the House asked the federal government to conduct a forensic audit of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL. And they wanted them to give clarity to the direct supply and direct purchase, DSDP, program, and also the consortiums of DSDP operators, so that they can get the discrepancies on the amount of fuel supplied and the amount of fuel received from 2015 till date. And now they are saying that there is no record, there is no data of the supply that has been made, there is no data of the subsidies that have been made from this. They went ahead to say all of the things that they expect them to do, but it was just worrisome that we've been saying we've been spending money on subsidy, and yet no record to even show what we are paying. Who is drinking all these things?
Well, the reports always change to me, because sometimes they'll give a figure.
Yeah, so
they spend on subsidy. Sometimes they give you so every day.
Depends on the figures.
Depends on which papers you're reading. Let me talk about the Nigerian Governors Forum. So yesterday, the former chairman, Aminu Tambuwal, announced that the federal government has halted further deductions from their accounts to meet the local government council's London Paris Club obligations. And also they'll be refunding to them all that had been deducted from their accounts in connection with the loan repayment. This was great news to the governors. I mean, that they'll have more money, because the money used to be directly deducted from their accounts. Also, they were able to have the change in leadership yesterday. So now the governor of Kwara State, Abdulrazak, will be the Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, will be the one as the chairing the Nigerian Governors Forum, and he's going to be deputized by Governor of your state, Governor Makinde, who will be the vice chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum. That's a good thing. I mean, it's good to see how leadership is being changed with the Governors Forum. But I'm happy that the state governments will also be able to get more money from the federal allocation as soon as they stop deducting these Paris Club refund. This is good news for many governors. Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. There's not much story because Mr. Tompolo has taken up half the page on Punch. Countdown to handover. FEC holds last session. Governors dissolve cabinets. And again, High Chief Government, Ikpemupolo, that's Tompolo, put up, I think it's an editorial here. Sorry, an editorial here. Okay, which story are we taking?
So I took a human interest story in the paper, and it's about a polytechnic student who sadly took his life They say that he was a student of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro in Ogun State, Samuel Adekogoke. His picture is also on the paper. Handsome young man. They said that he had used his money, the money that was given to him to pay for fees, to bet, and he lost it. And then on this particular day, he was talking with his friend, and the friend showed him an alert he had just received from home for his fees, and found a way to get his friend's password, and then went in and accessed that friend's bank account, took the money out, and used it for, for betting, and lost that money. His friend had gone to pay his fees and realized he didn't have any money, called his friend because he knew. And this one was upfront with him and said, I'm so sorry, this is what I used your money for, but I promise I'll pay you back. And even he said that he didn't have any fees. He was like, call your dad now, let's sort this out. So on the day that he was supposed to receive, he had not seen it. So he sort of told him, I'm coming. They waited about 30 minutes. He goes in, he sees him in distress. Apparently he had taken a substance, insecticide. He was rushed to a clinic. They tried to revive him, but unfortunately he passed. The father was informed. He said this is not the first time the boy has used the fees for something like that. The last session is what happened. When he heard about it, he paid it. If he had heard about this one, he would have gone ahead to pay for it. But he said he could not take the body of the corpse. I mean, he could not take the corpse because, I don't know, he said the school should go ahead and bury him, but he couldn't take it. It's so sad. The students' union in the school trying to encourage them to go for counseling, therapy, young people in the school. This is a major issue amongst young people now. It's either they are into drugs or betting, and then one thing they think is to handle it is to
just go
suicide. It's sad.
Can't handle the pressure. Okay, I was going to take the major headlines. Still talking about president winding down. It was yesterday at the FEC meeting where he gave his valedictory speech at the FEC. Yesterday, he also, in fact, according to the Minister of Information, the entire meeting took about 6 hours behind closed doors, where the president was able to address all members of staff, the House staff at the forecourt of the presidential villa. He spoke to everybody in his team. He said that thank you for enduring my government for the past 8 years. He allowed the ministers to say 2 to 3 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes of their own valedictory speech of what their various ministries have done, their achievements, and they all just thanked him. And that he also said again at this FEC meeting that he's willing, he can't wait to go, that his only passion in his life is to take care of his cattle. He cannot wait to just go and rest. And in the same vein, other governors, such as Governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu, also dissolved his cabinet all towards the swearing in of the new the new administration on May 29th. So he also dissolved his cabinet, and the HOS had sent a message to all the commissioners that everybody must leave their office by Friday, tomorrow. So, I mean, everything is winding down. Everybody's looking forward to May 29th for the new government to come in, and hopefully when that happens, things will indeed change. You know how we're feeling when Buhari was.
I hope we go quick. I hope there's no slow period. I just hope we start flying.
Must hit the ground flying, not even walking or running. Hit the ground flying, because Nigerians are very, very anticipating the assumption of the new.
I think this Dangote refinery thing is also going to work in his favor. Because a lot of things will, settle.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni, Yeni, Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I didn't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
God, we're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born in 75.
So will I drink out?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It all starts.
Ọmọ ọmọ fẹlá ọmọ Aníkúlá Pókùtì. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still looking over the papers.
The Punch, yeah. So the Federal High Court in Lagos on Wednesday sentenced 3 men, Kasumu Ademola, Saliu Mikailu, and Gani Ushola, to 20 years imprisonment for defrauding a stock firm of 45.6 million. Justice Chukwucheku Aneke was the one who handed down the jail term after he found them guilty of the offense. The EFCC had arraigned the convicts on 4 counts of conspiracy, unlawful conversion, and money laundering before the court, to which they pleaded not guilty. Yeah. And they were first arraigned in 2019. They pleaded not guilty to the 8 counts, and they were admitted to bail on various terms. But the convicts in 2021 informed the courts of their intention to change their plea bargain, and they pleaded guilty to the charges. So the 3 were accused of conspiring and unlawfully converting 298,550 stocks of a deceased man, the late Joseph Adeyemi, valued at about 34 million naira. And they were also said to have unlawfully retained the aggregate of the sum, which was 9.481 million in their bank accounts. So they resumed the hearing, and then they've been sentenced to 20 years. So they'll be doing 5 years each for each of the counts.
Okay, moving on to Daily Sun, which is practically not much story. Again, Mr. Tompola has taken up all the stories. Federal government agrees to refund 192 billion naira Paris Club deductions to governors, and Tinubu swearing in. We trust courts to still do justice after May 29th, says Peter Obi. Nobody has a story. Let's move on now to Vanguard. Refinery will ask Dangote to sell Forex at good rate. Tina Turner, queen of rock and roll, dies at 83. Baja, deputy clash at plenary. Keyamo to Buhari, it's unconstitutional to appoint Minister of State. Pressure on me, can't wait for May 29th. And PPI, bureaucracy, others, scuttle delivery of 25,000 megawatts, says investigation. Okay.
Should I take Festus Keyamo?
Yeah.
The outgoing Minister of State for Labor and Employment, at the FEC meeting that you earlier talked about. And so he gave a speech. I'm just trying to get like a summary of his speech. What he was just trying to say, he said that Mr. President appointed him as Minister of State in 2019, and but he has something to say, that it is not ingratitude, and a lot of people who were in a position the same as he is right now have always wanted to say this, but they didn't want to come across as being ungrateful which is he thinks is an aberration of our constitution to have that position, Minister of State. He says even it doesn't really work well because no matter what you do, it's still underneath a colleague. So no matter what your ideas are, before you can even push it to be tangible or to fruition, it has to go through another colleague who can sort of, subsume those ideas and make it their own. And he's just saying that this is it's not a criticism of the present administration or lack of gratitude. It's just so that we can better develop our constitution and reform, So that was just basically what he was saying. And of course, being a lawyer, I understand he listed out all the different places in our constitution that would show us the unconstitutionality of that office.
Okay. So the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, was speaking yesterday at the end of the 291st Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, meeting in Abuja, and he said that the refinery, that's Dangote's refinery, will be persuaded to sell foreign exchange earnings to banks at good rates. He also said that his team would engage the promoter of the refinery, that's Alhaji Aliko Dangote, to ensure that Nigerians benefit from the venture, saying that the CBN, the federal government, and the country helped him set up the refinery. And he was expressing optimism that the refinery will ease the foreign exchange scarcity in the country, saying that the local refining would be gaining about 20% cost of the total cost of importing petroleum from outside. And that amount, that 20% could be saved for us. And it will go ahead to reduce the prices in the long run. And now it's time for us to look at removing the subsidy since we're going to be saving. I think they mentioned the amount we're going to be saving if we're able to get that 20%. We'll be saving about 5 billion to 10 billion in foreign exchange, which they would appeal to him to sell to the bank. So those businessmen and women who want to import, instead of going directly to the CBN, they'll just go to their banks and get the dollar. So we won't have issue with Forex anymore with Dangote. And so because Nigerians have helped him set up, he must benefit us first.
Okay, the words appeal and good, it's rather vague. It's not, for me, it's still not definitive,
It gives Dangote
some kind of power.
Yes,
some kind of
over our whole... I mean, we'll wait to see what economists say.
His investment.
But you say it will appeal.
Yes.
A good
rate. Country is appealing to...
and who gives you a good rate? Can you define good rate? So those are very, very vague
we'll see.
But we'll see what happens. Hey, let's be optimistic. Let's still celebrate. It was just
no. We celebrate that.
Commission. Okay, so yesterday, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila and his deputy had a back and forth yesterday. The video went viral, and the bone of contention was that there was an announcement on the early adjournment of today's plenary to enable the Speaker and members to attend the commissioning of the permanent site of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILS, which was along the airport road in Abuja. So the Speaker had said that they should adjourn plenary today because the President was going to be commissioning at 3 p.m. So he said, let us make things lighter so that we end at 2 p.m. and then so that they can go for the commissioning at 3. His deputy stood up and said, the job of the House is to make laws that must we close the plenary because we're going for commissioning. And that was rather interesting because it's usually not a normal thing for somebody to speak against. When the Speaker has made a pronouncement like that, you're not supposed to really speak against it. But the Speaker was able to hold his own and said that he said, Deputy Speaker, I have been in this House long enough to know that it is the first time in the history of the House that a Deputy Speaker will openly oppose what the Speaker says. So he wasn't saying that we should close plenary totally. We're saying we'll come, make it a bit lighter so that we can close at 2 p.m. and attend at 3. Not as if we're going to close at 9 o'clock and the whole day is wasted. We're still going to do our work till 2 p.m. But the man was, but those who are saying behind it, the guy is really upset. Well, there's a back-end story because he and the Speaker are probably having bit of a strained.
It showed.
Because he was interested in.
You can tell the energy was off.
It was really
off. They are fighting somewhere.
Let's move on now to Vanguard. Let's find a story we've not taken. I think we've taken all the stories.
Nigeria Air.
Nigeria Air, you have that story?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to move to Tribune actually. We've taken Vanguard. Buhari seeks Senate approval to pay $566 million and others judgment debts. Abiodun Amuson clash over sighting of Dangote's refinery in Lagos. Tina Turner dies at 83. Oyo governor gets sole authority to give chiefs needed crowns. Nigeria airplane to arrive Friday, says Sirika. Despite valedictory session, Buhari fails to dissolve FEC. And health workers set agenda for Tinubu. In fact, everything is happening before 29. The planes are coming in. In fact, Nigeria's economy just
the plane, according to the minister, is saying the aircraft will be unveiled in Nigerian colors. But it's not here yet.
It's coming on Friday.
It's coming. That's what
it never lands.
It's coming. So he's just explaining that it will be unveiled in Nigerian colors and that everything concerning it is done, nearly 100% done. He says that that there's something he says everything is on ground. The only item missing, so everything that they had set out to achieve, they have to 100%. But the only one item missing on our table is the Aerotropolis. So that's supposed to be like a airport city. So it's all the airports, 4 of them, free zones to allow you come in and take advantage of what the free zone is and things like that. So that's the Aerotropolis is the only one that hasn't been completed yet, but they have started and it's 60%, done. So they've put in the work so far. The groundwork has been laid, but there's still some more to be done. So at the end of this administration, they can say that concerning the Aerotropolis is 60% done, but Nigeria Air is 100% done. But for me, I think 100% is when the aircraft gets here.
Has landed.
And has been unveiled in the Nigerian
that
colors.
Means 100%.
And operation starts.
Don't worry.
It's definition.
Okay. I can assure you everything will happen before May 29th.
Yeah.
By Any story?
Yeah, the relocation of the multi-billion-dollar Dangote refinery from Ogun State to its location in Lagos State sparked of controversy. I think you took that story yesterday. The Ogun State Governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, and his predecessor in office, Senator Ibikula Amosun, continued to engage in war of words. So Abiodun had accused Amosun of frustrating the project, which was initially planned to be sited at Olokola Free Trade Zone. And, Amosun reacted and insisted that the business mogul took the decision to move the project to Lagos State without government interference. Then they went ahead to explain. So he went ahead to explain what exactly happened. He said this started in 2007, and it was a joint venture. The federal government of Nigeria owned the majority of 51%. Ondo State owned 14.5%. Ogun State owned 14.5%, and strategic core investors 20%. That's the likes of Aliko Dangote, and I think he bought out the 20% equity for himself. So he was the main investor for that. Now, he said Ogun State was a minority equity stakeholder. If you remember, I just mentioned 14.5% for them. Without proprietary strength and capacity to take sole decisions on the joint venture enterprise. As a mere holder of 14.5% equity interest, it is most uncharitable for anyone to churn out lies that Ogun State was in a position to unilaterally frustrate the project or was responsible for the logjam. That Dangote just made the right decision for his business, going for a state that had more equity in that.
Okay. What's love got to do? Got to do, baby. What's love? The US-born star Tina Turner passed away at the age of 83 in her home in Switzerland. Brian Adams is one of the first people to actually pay his tribute. Many of us grew up listening to Tina Turner, and her legs were insured.
Yeah, I remember all the stories about her legs.
I never forget how her legs were insured, and we used to dance and just
her energy was something else.
She was very, very, very passionate singer, and she was one of those people who were had the strongest vocalist, the really strong vocalist, and she was in the league of the Aretha Franklins, and she was such a powerful singer, and definitely the world will miss a great performer. And she actually had, I think she battled with liver cancer or something like that.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
I think it was, I'm not even sure if it was liver cancer. It was one type of cancer I read somewhere. Okay. It wasn't specified here. But she battled with that for a while, I think since the 2000s, and she's been struggling. But, I mean, at least God gave her life till 83, and that's a good life. In Nigeria, that's party time.
I'm there.
I'm telling you, that shut down Lagos, man. But we thank God for her life and all that she's left behind.
We can actually shut down for her. Let's just do a shrebi for Tina Turner.
Yeah. That's we can do it. Ladies of your view.
ladies.
Let's shut down.
No, we'll dance after. We'll show our legs and dance.
It's an eternal leg challenge.
Yes.
Let's do something like that.
You know, I like that.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Thursday. Our gist, we talk about family life, marriage, what is happening, who is breaking up, who is... Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
And ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just... I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So, like, this person might just say, you people can just be on Third Mainland Bridge on a bike, and the person say, babe, I cannot do it again, and you lose range. So, what would change? What would change the scenario? Like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were meant to be
like finding your beauty?
Or do you want to be on the street?
No, carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you na dey jog.
You tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be driving at this
point? The car will
point?
be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car will be
pray.
stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like me. I'm going to drive near water.
All
You must consider.
This is 7 of 7. My name is OJ, and signing a celebrity into my hands tonight on this social experiment called the 7 of 7 is Owen G. What is the name, or what was the name? You said I want to make them better now.
Rock Heart.
No, of the goats when they brought it on stage.
The name of that goat.
Yeah.
We should go there.
No, that one easy now.
I'm just drinking this so that I can ask him my own questions. It's not because of
Buga.
he didn't get it. You know. Okay. Mention 10 female stand-up comedians in Nigeria. See, just mention their stage name. If you annoy me, you will mention their real names and the year they started. And if you annoy me further, you mention the names of their husbands and the names of their children. Try me now. Okay, mention their name.
No, let's just.
No, wait. No, don't. No. Name, real name, stage name, husband name, children name. 10 of them.
Even the 10. That's a lot.
Eh?
That's a lot.
Did I cut your question for you?
Yes.
When you were happy now. With your hunchback.
That was it.
You are wasting time. We don't have time. See, my brother, before we go on a commercial break, you are stubborn. And I told you since. The fact that you play this your hair does not mean You understand? See this bar here you are looking at. It's experience. I've suffered before you.
But I try now.
Were you there during the military era of Abacha and Babangida? You know what happened?
I be Gen Z.
So that
Gen Z,
I
call for
I will remove 4 out of 10.
That's like
4 out of 10 they pass exam. Come drink this thing. Where baby you are on here? Drink am. If I land you.
Testing as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to our sponsor segment. So, as the world geared up for the year's World Milk Day on June 1st, we have in the studio Mr. John Olaiwola from Friesland Campina Wamco, who will be taking us through the dairy development journey of its establishment. Welcome to the show, sir. Good to have you.
You're welcome, sir.
Pleasure.
So over the years, Friesland Campina Wamco appears to have raised its stakes in local content and partnership. Can you tell us more about its development in Nigeria and the journey so far?
Thank you so much for asking me that very interesting and passionate story about Friesland Campina Development Program. Over the years, since 1984, we started backward integration in the country. We started with a commercial farm in Jos, Vom, which was more having exotic breeds in there to produce raw milk, and then we used at that moment. But in 2010, we launched our dairy development initiative. We started with Shonga Dairies, where we partnered with Shonga Farms. At that time, the Zimbabwe farmers were in Nigeria. We have 5 different farms where we collect milk. Friesland Campina supported them. We improved the milk quality, and we started collecting raw milk at that time. And at that time, we used to have 10% of the raw milk into the peak and evaporated milk that we have today. So in 2011, we also started a new method of running our dairy development, where we started in Oyo State. We worked with pastoralists, we worked with smallholder farmers, also commercial farmers. So we had to look at all the 3 chains, and we looked at what the problem was, because we wanted to be self-sufficiency in the country. So we were not saying, oh, Friesland, yes, we have the money to do 1 big farm, but we wanted to touch lives and look at all the economic stability, the environmental aspect of it. And so we work with a lot of farmers. Today we work with about 12,500 farmers. We're in Oyo, Ogun, Osun, Kwara. Of course, we are now in FCT. A couple of weeks we will start our first milk collection in the northern region. So today we are really doing very well in the southwest.
Okay. Amazing.
And collecting, at a peak period, we've collected over 42,000 liters per day.
Whoa.
Because we are the leaders in the dairy. #1 dairy in the country. So also in the dairy space, in the dairy development, backward integration, we're also #1. Okay. So we are doing that with our grass to glass approach. And that's grass to glass. Okay. So if you look at the chain, it's quite different. We are not saying just go to a farm. We look at the grass, look at quality, because if you look at food security, it's very important. So we are not just collecting milk for collecting sake. People say there's 20,000 cows, but that's not what we are saying. We are saying quality.
Quality. Okay.
Because we don't want to have people get sick from collecting fresh milk cows.
I like the fact that Friesland decided to empower locals. You know, sometimes when we have multinationals come in, they would just want to, because in their head, this quality can only be gotten from outside the country. They want to import. But now you are setting up farmers, you're helping them, and you're using them as well. They are making money, you are making money and running your business. But how do you plan to align your growth plan to the dairy policy in Nigeria? How is it aligning?
Yeah, it's a new one. Just signed in some few days ago by the FEC. But if you look at what we are doing, we are Royal Friesland Campina. We've done this in 8 countries. The 9th one is Nigeria as we speak. And so we are aligning it based on the plan we have before now. If you look at what has happened today, we're a company that is proactive. We are not reactive. So we had started ours a long time ago. And what we just need to do is to hop our game. And that's what we are doing today. Today we're working with farmers. We are also incorporating new farmers on board. We've also invested in MVRI, VOM, the Northern region, where we also have breeding centers. Also in Oyo State, we just stepped on our model farm. I invite you one of these days to join and see how crossbreeds are working in that place. We want to have more crossbreeds in those farms where we can have farmers. Today you have 1 2-liter cow, and with that crossbreeding you can have 20 liters per cow. So young people can come in. With that, we build the volume that we want to collect and align with the government and also the breeding center. We also do a lot of trainings, having young graduates, veterinarians, animal scientists, food scientists work in the chain because we be local for local. So aligning that policy with our policy is just upping our game, increasing our geographical spread, and bringing more partners. Because if you look at SDG 17, it's about partnerships, bringing in a lot of partners. Like today we have the #1 breeding company in the world, Urus from United States of America, joining us. We also have Berenbrock, the grass seed company, joining us, and also the AgriFirm from Netherlands. So we are doing all this to ensure that we meet, we align our goals with the federal government goals. And we have also signed an MOU with the federal government. So all this policy is not new to us. It's something already integrated in our system. We are driving the system with them.
I think business now is about collaborations and you're making powerful connections and
yes, we are doing that. Yeah.
But I mean, you've actually answered the question I'm about to ask. But maybe just to be more specific, could you just tell us in the 1 year, in the past year, what your specific strides, innovations, and achievements have been?
Yeah,
just this last year.
This last year has been fantastic, I would say. They keep saying I'm Mr. Fresh Milk. People call me Mr. Fresh Milk. But today, I also am the father of Girolandos. Girolando is a new breed from Brazil, which is for the tropical regions. We keep saying we want to bring in cows from Europe.
From Australia.
But we don't have the same temperature. That's the kind of error we make. But Friesland Cabinet has seen that. And then we decided to look at what tropical breed can work in the country. So Girolando, today we have 25 Girolandos being born as a few days ago. Crossbreed, the ones that will give you 20 liters, which can survive in this environment where we are. We inseminated about 610 as a pilot, and we have 57% success rate in that. So for me, that's fantastic because that's the future of the country. And if you look at that, that's the way to go, where you have few cows with few carbon footprints, and then you have more high productivity.
So, I mean, I know that there are certain things you'd like to achieve with this conversation, but there are some mothers watching you right now, and a lot of things you've said are gone over their head. They're not very clear. I'd like you to bring this conversation home a bit. For example, when you say 20 liters, we're thinking, is it like the cow is producing the liters? You know how you watch documentaries abroad where they give you on a journey of how they pull out the milk from the cows, it's processed up until the point it gets to the bottles. I like to have that picture. Give us an idea. Okay, these new cows that you've gotten now, when they're crossbreed, when you do the crossbreeding, and then how is it that you pump 20 liters out, and then that's what we get in the cans? Could you just give us an idea so that people who are watching at home can have an understanding what
for people watching at home, I think it's important we understand the Nigerian dairy sector. Today, the kind of cows we have, people say we have cows in the country, but they are beef cows. They are not dairy cows. So two different things.
There's a difference.
Dairy cows will produce milk. Beef cows will produce milk but little milk, which we do 1 to 2 liters in this country. If you go to the US, you go to Europe, they do 30, 40 liters per cow.
Per cow.
That's the difference. And it's not about the population, the number. It's about the productivity of the cows. So what we are saying is that we've looked at the scenario, and that's why you bring a breed that can give us high productivity, but not just high. You also need to ensure good day farm practices being carried out. You ensure all necessary stuff is being put in to ensure they get that 20. So for our viewers at home, this is a new innovation, a new achievement that with the Girolando cows, you can have 5 Girolando cows in the back of your house and take from 1 cow 20 max. You can imagine 1 cow giving you 20 liters, and the beef cow is giving you 2 liters.
Gotcha.
So
all right,
that's
clear now. Thank you. Go ahead.
So let me ask this question: is there any plan? Because when you travel, you have fresh dairy. You buy fresh dairy. and I don't see much of canned and powders with them outside. Is there any plan that at some point we'll get to a point where we can actually order fresh dairy and we get it fresh milk to the house?
Yeah,
we have fridge.
Yeah, let's hear.
Yes, we have fridge, but if you look at what has happened today, I think in the course of this program, you understand what I'm talking about. As Friesland campaigner, we've done, that's our ultimate goal to have that. Yeah. We started with Peak. Of course, I know you all took Peak. Yeah. We grew up with Peak and 3 Crowns and all that. Today, you have Nunu yogurt and Peak yogurt. These are milk from fresh milk. Local for local. Okay. I beat my chest to tell you, local for local. This is fresh milk from Oyo, Kwara, Ondo, and wherever we are today that we used to produce Peak yogurt. Yeah. So these are the beginning of the fresh we are talking about. Okay. One other thing that we used to look at is that the quality of the raw milk needs to be at top notch before you start doing fresh for fresh. So that you don't have people take fresh milk and then you find them Listerine and all that in the market, in the hospital. So, and that's one of the biggest drive we are doing. We are best in class in terms of quality. Right. We've been able to drive the quality down, and we are doing very well. So,
so that's the
to start
get there.
Audrey, so
maybe
you know when on your shows you start having fresh milk from
that would be nice. You know, when you were saying how you're working with over 12,000 farmers, my question, you know, I was thinking is how do you make sure? You know, for quality control, how do you make sure that you're getting the best from these farmers? Because there's a widespread of farmers in different farms. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I'd like you to also answer the issue of challenges you face also with that question.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very interesting. If you look at what I mentioned, grass to glass, that's our approach. We look at end to end. We go to the farm, we train the farmers. Okay. After training the farmers, we give them protocols that they need to follow. We also have extension officers, managers, working closely with us to ensure that that is being carried out. We also have built milk collection centers in the environment where the farmers are. We have 29 milk collection centers across all these areas, and so we built it close to them. Okay. We are not saying we're in Lagos, we are factories, but we are working in the village. We work in the rural area where they bring the milk. 30 minutes, milk gets spoiled very fast. So if they follow all the protocols and they move it close to us, we cool it down. So we've been able to get close to them, and that has helped us so much to ensure that this quality control process we put in place. We actually run an ASAP system in the village. People think it's only the factory we run that, and that's why we say from grass to glass. ASAP is being run in the village. So I have close to 32 colleagues working closely with me, food technologists, animal scientists, veterinarians. Right. So we work closely with the farmers, like I mentioned, supporting the farmers first, and then we collect the milk. Right. That's what we see. And if I talk about the challenges you mentioned, it is huge. When we started, it was tough. I can assure you we threw milk away because it was not meeting the standard. So we had to do a lot of extension activities, working with the farmers till the evening. And then the challenges that we talked about, with no feed, transportation, the bad roads were there and all that. So we had to bring in consortium to support us to have the feed for the farmers because there was no feed for the cows. We also had to invest in boreholes, solar power bowls in the villages for them to have accessible, potable water for the cows and all that. So we had to build that system. And that was huge for a profit organization going that step to ensure all this is being done.
You have to wrap up enough. Final question.
Yeah, I believe we have other milk companies. What stands Friesland out? What makes your model very suitable to the Nigerian sector?
Thank you very much. If you look at that, that's what I just thought. It's an eccentric model, grass to glass model. Okay. We talk about 3 things. We look at 3 pillars of local sourcing. Why ours is different that we cover from the grassroots. We could deal with smallholder farmers, pastoralists, commercial farms. We looked at the economic stability, which is improving the cow yield of the cows, the productivity. We're also looking at the quality I just mentioned. Right. That's one pillar. The other pillar is the social pillar, which is the social stability, which is not allowing the rural people move to the urban area because we have brought business into them, and their livelihood has been improved and also productivity. And the third one which I call the environmental factor. And that's why ours is different. We're not in one place. We're also looking at the carbon footprint and also planting trees. Today we've planted over 10,000 trees.
I wanted to give you a high five on that.
So that's
we have to wrap up now.
what we're doing, right?
Thank you so much. I mean, it's good to learn about Friesen, WAMCO, what you're doing, and the impact you're having to society. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with Mr. John Olaiwola. He's the head dairy development Friesen campaigner, WAMCO Nigeria PLC. That is all we can take on this segment. When we come back, on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting...
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not
There's no judgment.
No, and I
Oh, they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
whom?
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Man, just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
When they are nice divorcees.
I would just
What
be.
if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll just drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, hi, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira,
If
take
you're employer,
10K,
your sugar
take
daddy,
15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the questions.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for enter. My first question. Do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
Of course I do.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this because I have this question for you. Final question. No. Where outside Nigeria and what year? I think you're the only one that can be wicked.
I am thinking because I know back in the day.
Don't think. Answer my question quick. You are thinking too much. I don't like it.
The UK.
Final answer. Okay. I said, God, please, let me to perform outside Nigeria.
Wait.
And God gave me a show in Ghana. Drink, my friend, drink. I don't
overthink this thing. See where I can.
Yes, you overthink them.
I would say you should catwalk.
Let's catwalk. Where are we?
No, that's not catwalking.
That's good talking.
Ladies and gentlemen, multiple award-winning actor, producer, ambassador of Edo people, we have Etinosa Idemudia in the building.
Not be first to go police station, they win the case.
Is
So
she?
you are showing yourself.
I go see as my second
You are
question.
feeling like a contact the prancing peacock. I'm about to cut your wings. Hello. Now, in the amalgamation of 1914, who was the woman Who drew the line of the amalgamation? Who cut the report? Who is the person that used scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
You have done me dirty. I've marked your face. If anything happened to me today,
I don't
I don't reach my house. Anyway, I'm gonna be chauffeured, so.
You remember now, Abby? Yeah, but you never too thin. Now you remember.
Hey.
If a person who indulges habitually in watching a sexual material is called a voyeur.
That's what they're called.
You clearly say you don't go even get the next one.
Hey, a voyeur.
Voyeur.
Then go on.
What is a person who makes one
A
called?
voyeur. A voyagiste. A bon voyage.
Thanks for staying with us. Today, Thursday, we'd like to discuss family, relationships, and marriage. And one of the interesting stories that caught our attention is particularly about marriage. Now, on this show, we've been proponents of good homes, good marriages, and we extol the values and virtues of a good relationship. However, when some stories come to our attention that have to do with what women go through or have to go through just to live normal lives in a marriage because society demands it of them to stay in hurtful marriages, we need to begin a conversation on why some people are advocating for women, especially Nigerian women, to be bold enough to seek for divorce. A feminist, let me reference a feminist, I'm not sure even if she has her name here, but she just tags herself as a feminist. And you know, when Nigerians hear feminist, they think negative, but feminist is just somebody who is the proponent of feminism and believes that women are equal to men. It's not a disease. All right, so according to this feminist, divorce rates, according to her, the divorce rates are not high enough in Nigeria. She said a lot of Nigerian men should have been, a lot of Nigerian women should have left their husbands long time ago. And some can argue this. According to her, she knew somebody who her husband has stopped her from seeing her friends. He will reprimand her each time she goes out with her friends, to even see her friends or hang out with her family. He told her to go on, she was a medical doctor, and he caused her to stop going for night shifts, because according to her, night shifts is when they make most money, because that's when they need you. He stopped her from taking night shifts. He also got her to go back to medical school, and when he did that, when she came back, he made her take jobs that will only allow her to work maybe 2 or 3 days so she can have time for the family. And then we'll be locking her out maybe when she comes out late with her friends. He was just saying stories of what women go through. And while I was reading this article, and I remembered the story of Derek Jackson in the US, which also went viral. I'd like Miriam to just give us a background to that story before we start the conversation.
I need to give you context. So it's, first of all, Derek Jackson, I don't know how many Nigerians know him, but he's well known on social media. He's a relationship coach, personal, coach. And he would talk about, he's a feminist, an advocate for women to be happy in relationships and how they can seek good relationships. But then in his own marriage, it seems that he's not practicing what he preaches, because in his own marriage, there's been many reports of him cheating on his wife. They even had a social media sit down where he explained to his fans and followers that, you know what, those pictures or videos you saw of me cheating was in the past. We have moved on from that. We're working on our marriage. But a few months after that video, we saw him with another woman. And then he said that he and the wife could not work on their marriage anymore, so they've gone their separate ways. But what was interesting was that during that video, that social media chat, he looked so handsome and the wife looked quite depressed. But yesterday, a new video came out. The woman is looking like two different people. She's looking beautiful. She's had her hair done. She's speaking, sitting up more confidently. And she was explaining how through the years, she knew him since she was 19 and found out through therapy that he had been cheating on her with over 100 women. She said that even in that marriage, she knew when he would meet up with these women, she knew what they did. She would watch videos of her husband and these women being intimate with each other. And she did that so she could learn what they were doing to her husband and she could do it better for her husband. She would go on their social media profile to see how they were dressing and talking so she could be that for her husband. But it still didn't work. They still went their separate ways.
That is why the conversation about there are some women who should be encouraged to have that boldness and confidence to exit. Because this one, for example, that you talked about, was depressed, and she started doing things that she ought not to have done. You know, she probably could have been diagnosed with bipolar, various mental health issues. Also, the blogger was talking about this medical doctor whose life totally changed for the worst because she got married to a man who was constantly reprimanding her and pulling her down. But because in Nigeria, divorce, even not even in Nigeria, in the Bible, God hates divorce. Although we've been told that God hates divorce, but he doesn't hate the divorcees, but he hates divorce. So when you hear that, a lot of women are so scared of taking that step of divorce. So that's the conversation. We're not trying to ask people to get divorced, and that's not who we are, that's not what the show is about. But there are some people that should begin to make that process. What are your thoughts on women who truly must begin to think of that step? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So we have these two case scenarios, the Derek Jackson story and also this feminist. Both of them are feminists, so there's also something wrong with him. He's a feminism mentality, I don't know. But the thing is, we have to be true and real with ourselves. It's not every marriage that is rosy. Although there are some who say, yes, marriages have issues, but we can work it out. Others, it's almost impossible, and women find it difficult to take that step of, I got to leave this house. Let me start with you, Coach. Dr. Coach.
Coach in the mud.
Hey. What are your thoughts on this matter?
So, I wish the lady, maybe if we get the real podcast, we may see how long, and she would have narrated to us at the point she decided to take a walk. So that we will see the progression when she woke up from slumber, because she was definitely sleeping in that relationship and the man was taking advantage of her, probably at the level he met her. And one thing I know about these people that are very deceptive, narcissistic, and abusers is that they go for women they know they can cheat. They go for women they know do not really understand themselves, women that are not so aware. So I had friends, you know, back in school then, when I come around to visit them and their guy, and I'll be arguing, you know, I always like to gist and argue. We'll argue politics, we'll argue this, we'll argue that. And when I go, the girl will tell me that, my guy does not like you. I say, why? He said, no, that if I become friends with you, if I stay long with you, you will spoil me. You will open my eyes. So because in the argument, they will realize that you can't shut me down. Because I'm a woman does not mean I should be subservient to you. You are a boy, you are almost my age. So being a man does not mean that the only person I would, you know, bring myself down for is the person who decides to marry me, and I agree because we are working towards a goal and it's a home. But outside, if you're my age mate, you're at my level and whatever, we will talk, we would engage. And I see that some of those guys do not like women who can engage them. They don't like women who know themselves. So once a girl tells me that, I will now ask, he don't they beat you? He don't they abuse you? Small. The other day, slap me. This one that I'll say, he will not like somebody like me because he knows that if I'm in that space, I will get you out of there. So I wish we really had the true story, because at some point, every woman will begin to think for themselves. I don't like to get involved in telling you what to do. You have to know what to do when you're ready. So what I see is because we process a lot of things and society has made it seem like, stay there now, you're a woman. It's your responsibility to make the marriage work.
Yeah.
So anything the man is doing, you find a way to make yourself happy, you find a way to focus on the children, you find a way, but it's wear and tear. It will get to you at some point. It will bring you down emotionally at some point. It will demoralize you physically at some point. I've seen women who have stayed in such marriages in their 50s now, always coming down with different diseases and sicknesses. It's some of the things that they had bottled just because they needed to make the marriage work. So when the team pain you reach bone and you're ready, please see a therapist. I'm sure that lady had to see a therapist to get her to that point.
She did mention that. She's been actually healed. The reason why she can talk about it now is because she's been through that healing process.
Yeah.
She can confidently talk about it. But, you know, it's also how we can... I know as a Christian, sometimes I struggle with these kind of conversations because is the need to normalize or to stop the stigma and embarrassment and shame in divorce. Because the society makes it look as if once I step out, I become an incomplete person. And it's changing that conversation that is so necessary so that women who have to watch... I heard that there's a woman says that her husband gave her STDs.
Oh, of course. Easy.
Your husband will be giving you STDs and you have to stay there. Yes, maltreating you and you'll be treating your STDs.
Yeah. They will even bring the medicine for you.
For you. So these are irreconcilable issues, but women have not been able to boldly take that step. And I would like to hear from divorcees today because sometimes hearing your story of when you said, I am done, there's some that left in a haste and they have regrets. I know a few people who say, you know what, Mariah, maybe I could have been a bit more patient and understanding because the man has evolved, this man is now a better person, I wish I had stayed. There are those stories. But there are some that are like, man, Mariah, I am glad I left that space. I met somebody in UK, she was like, Mariah, I am living my life. She was over 50. I am living. I'm finally living. She was so happy, you know. So I would love to hear from divorcees this morning.
Yeah.
Call in and share your story. At what point did you say,
Did you wake up?
Did you wake up? Mariam, let me hear your...
You know, in the beginning, I thought this would be a conversation of only divorcees. That's those who have physically left and separated from their marriage legally. But I know with the way things are, especially in our African context, where I now understand when women are going through issues in their marriages, we have older females who say, concentrate on your children, concentrate on your work. It's a form of divorce. You have emotionally divorced yourself from that husband and your expectations of what he's supposed to bring to that marriage or the happiness he's supposed to give you.
The mental divorce.
Yes. And now you're concentrating on your work and your children and yourself. And this brings me to understanding also better what self-love means. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, like when you were younger and you were single and you were feeling yourself, all of a sudden everybody just wants to be with you. But when you're depressed and you're desperate for marriage, the people don't come.
They don't see you.
So men also will treat you how you present yourself or where you are. If you're at a point where you're loving up on yourself, you understand your self-worth, you're confident, you're chasing your dreams, you're chasing your career, they will be coming to you to look for how they can be part of it. But when you make them their whole world, and it's not just men, but we're going to just concentrate on men in marriages. When you sort of make them your whole world, you do nothing unless it has to do with them. They get bored. Who are you? They want to know who they are with. I don't want you to be a replication of me. I fell in love with a woman who is this and who is that and who is that. I'm not asking you all of a sudden, shut down who you are and be just subservient to me. I don't think, you know, I just feel that that way bores men a lot. And now there's the second part, which is where we have used, I don't call it any religion, but we have used religion to express that the only way a woman can be truly loved is by being completely subservient, by lacking, you know, her own personality. And I don't think that we're telling women the truth in that regard. And so I'm going back to that place where the woman, in the Bible, the virtuous, remember, is it the virtuous
Proverbs 31?
Proverbs 31 woman. She is all these things that she does on her own. Before the man is mentioned, is almost at the end of who she is. So she's someone that they said the husband looks up to, the children are proud of. Who are you as a person? This conversation is really about who you are as a person. And if you are that sort of person. You're confident, you love yourself, you're doing your thing.
We're going against the Bible.
No, we're not going against it. We're going exactly as Proverbs 31 says.
Who can
He's
find
saying,
anything?
if you are that Proverbs 31 woman, your husband will look up to you with respect. Okay. The people on your streets will talk about you with respect. Your children will be proud of you. The husband that is with you, because he understands that you're such a prize, he will not mess up. And also, if you know who you are and you have a husband who does not recognize that you're such a prize, there are two things. You do it the way our mothers have always done it, which you mentally divorce yourself from this, or you do it the way we do it now, which is I also, not only mentally, but physically take myself out of this situation. That's how I see it.
You know, it's quite interesting because as I said, the way we still look down on women who have made that all-important decision to leave. You know, sometimes they are easily judged. Yeah. Nobody cares to ask what happened. I know there was a story about a woman who her family was constantly criticizing her for, I can't remember, either being rude to her in-laws or just being very nagging. She was just, you know, she was just a very unruly woman. You know, so everybody used to complain, and the pastors would come and preach to her, the elders would come and beg her, calm down now, treat your in-laws well. But one woman who was able to even ask her, what happened? How do you feel? She then broke down and started saying what that man was doing, what she was going through in the house, what the man forces her to do within the house. Very unspeakable things.
Wow.
To her body, to her everything, like stripped her of her person. So because she's depressed, she takes out that anger on family, friends, when they come out, she takes it, but because she can't say it out to anybody. So we're only seeing, so you're there criticizing, this woman, she can't call her husband, who could leave her. You don't know what the woman is going through. So for that woman to now say, you know what, I am done. It took a lot. Right. So we hardly ask this question. We just always judge them so quickly. Why would you leave your husband's house?
Yeah. I have a friend, not had, she's still my friend, pastor's wife. At the time, she was one of the, pastors that gave me opportunity to, minister in their church when I just started my gospel ministry. And we noticed, we'll minister, we noticed that she was snobbish. She was a very pretty woman. When the husband stands in the pulpit, the husband will praise her shape, praise everything, But then when she just meet us, greet us, and then she disappears. No plenty smiles, no hug. She wasn't warm. So we felt that, And then people were whispering, what was wrong with her?
Her husband is praising her outside.
A few years after I met her, we met in the coaching industry. Hey, we exchanged, what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And I realized that the marriage had packed up. You left, Pastor, what happened? When she gave me her story, I was crying. Apparently, the pastor was a narcissist. Physical abuse, spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, all the abuse put together. She managed that relationship for years before she had to take. In fact, her parents came to carry her out of the house before you die. And I saw another video where there were some ladies who were celebrating being divorced. We judged them. How can you celebrate it? Quietly divorce yourself. These women, when I listened to what some of them were saying, they were celebrating freedom at last. Not freedom to jump around, though. Freedom to live. Because some of them, life had nearly been snuffed out of them. They were just holding on and pressing and managing and squeezing.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, I would really like to hear from divorcees. You can call us on numbers. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abi?
Yeah. It was great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink. No problem. Okay. I've always known this as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I just said, look, I give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Sony.
Drink!
I'm not done. You did not say final answer.
Final answer.
You did not ask me if that was my final answer.
You don't have any choice again. It's only
Nikon.
how many cameras do they have? My
Nikon.
friend to drink. I gave you a very easy something.
Nikon now.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not
There's no
disrespect.
judgment.
No, and I
Oh, they'll
respect.
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
who?
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Man, just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
When they are nice divorcees.
I would just.
What if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll not drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira, take 10K, take 15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good boss.
A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's Your View. Join us on Your View, 9 a.m. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing divorce today. And there was a point that you said earlier, which I would really like to hop on. See, there are women who have never really had experiences in relationships. Some of them married as virgins. Some of them married directly, even men of God. They married people who they felt like, this guy is tongue speaking, spirit. This is the kind of person, this is the kind of man I want to be with. And they get into that and they experience all these kind of misbehaviors with their husbands, such that some of them are dealing with STDs, they're dealing with physical violence, they're dealing with verbal, emotional abuse, they're dealing with all, and they don't know what to do, but they cannot leave because everybody says, stay there because of your children, which, I mean, that's the advice that I would love for everybody to take, but there are some people that just cannot. They will die if they stay. But even though the man doesn't beat you, people underestimate the impact of physical, verbal and emotional abuse. How it actually cuts deep than physical abuse sometimes.
Do you know, in my experience, I would not say that people who find themselves in that situation are willing to leave. In my experience, I find that women who are in that situation are even less likely to leave because they've been so broken, they don't even know that that's an option. And their world has been so warped by the abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, that they feel that there will be nothing outside that toxic relationship. So even when you come and try and tell them that this is not good, what you're going through is bad, you can take a step, They will not listen to you. And because they're adults, you cannot hang them on your shoulder and walk out with them, you know. So most people, that's what, you know, that's what emotional abuse does to you. Physical, you can say, he hurt me so bad. See, my hand is broken. You want to break it again, I'm leaving. But emotional is, and sometimes, it's not even the screaming and shouting ones. It's the ones that tell you, look at you. Where are you going? You look so depressed. Yeah. My God, you are so disappointing. Please, please, don't let my children take any part of you. Look at you, you're so dull. So they keep telling you these words, breaking you down every day. So you have no self-worth, you have no form of confidence, and you feel that they will even tell you, even not that I have pity for you, no man will be able to stand you. So you feel that, thank God I'm here, and let me just stay here quietly and accept what I need to accept before other men outside will even treat me worse because I'm such a bad person.
Let me take Shola from Ikorodu. Good morning, Shola, you're live.
Yeah, good morning, Murayo. Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Yes. Good morning.
I like this topic, though I'm not divorced, but even though I would have loved to be one. You see, this topic, I want us to actually balance it, because it is easy to always point
at the men,
accusing fingers to the men. But when you get down to a full story of a couple, you will know men are also suffering much violence than the women in their marriage.
Yes.
You see, why I said I would have loved to be one is, though, like I said, I'm not divorced, I'm still in the marriage.
Are you mentally? Two
things that makes me to continue in this marriage. One, which you have mentioned earlier, as a child of God, the Bible in the book of Matthew 19, God said divorce. That is one of the things that is keeping me in this marriage. Number two is my children, because I don't want my children to suffer. You see, if I've gotten this experience of about divorce or something earlier before this time, maybe I would have divorced. Sure, you understand? So what I'm trying to point out this morning is that, please, we should balance this topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are some attitude of some women that is even worse than the women cheating on their husbands.
Yeah.
You will even prefer that the woman should cheat on you than the attitude she's facing. You are facing with her at home.
Absolutely.
Where will you put a man? He is the father and he is the mother at home.
Thank you, Shola.
You see, there are some things.
Thank you so much, Shola, for your input. I have to come, but you're very right, and I hope our producers can actually save your number. We can use you as a resource for this, but we need to talk about the other side, which is really important and critical too. But you're absolutely right. But the reasons why we're probably focusing on women today, because there's always that mentality that men can choose to divorce. Nobody's going to. Society would not judge them because, oh, they are single, they divorced. But women are often judged, and the reason, the focus of the conversation is women who are often judged. How do we help them? Stop judging them, so that, because some of them make these decisions based on some issues they cannot actually reconcile with their family. So that is one way we're focusing. But you're right. We must also flip it and see how women also make the marriages hard for their husbands. There was a point I wanted to make. When you talked about, was it you that was saying that like I'm favoring you?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But you see, it's even harder for divorcees, women who've been divorced, that who try to remarry. It's worse for them, because when they marry a new husband, according to one woman's story I heard, that I read, she said that her own children were like strangers to her husband, to their father, because they have to knock the door before you enter your father's house, the house that you would have actually been in. You are a stranger to your own father's house. You're a stranger to your mother's new husband's house. So
but you married the man inside her husband's house.
No. The second husband. So you leave your first husband. Okay. You marry the second husband.
You move to the
with
second
your children, with
house.
your two children from the first husband. You go to the second husband. Now she's saying that it's harder for people like her, because these children are strangers in her father's house. In their first, he has remarried. He has his own children. So you are stranger in that house. This new house, self,
They are also
strangers. So they're in the limbo.
So that's the broken home people talk
Yes.
about. That is the effect on children. So, and then let you go.
So we know it has that effect on children, and that's also because sometimes women feel that if there is no man in their life, they will not be able to raise proper children. We need to also demystify that, break it down for them to understand that if it has happened and you want to prioritize raising your children, you can also do it alone. I know it's difficult. It's not something anybody will wish on anybody. But if you find yourself in that space, some women have chosen that just because they want not to further damage their children by bringing in another dynamic. So I've had people who brought in another dynamic and the man started sleeping with the children, you know. So some, and some women will just say, well, I have a good job. I can take care of them. Let me stay. Even if I want to have a boyfriend outside, he will not come home, you know, just for that sanity. Because when that home is broken and the children either are with the father or with the mother, they need a form of adjustment. Now, infusing so many new people at the same time further confuses them. But there was something I wanted to talk about when you highlighted why you feel sometimes the abused person is stuck in the relationship and doesn't want to go.
Let me take that point after Olajide's call. Good morning, Olajide from Makoka.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Please, I would like you to find some time to address the main issue too. Because me, I'm divorced. I've been divorced for close to like 10 years now. And because of what I've had to, I'm even finding it hard to get married all over again. It's not easy. And you know, most of us are one that will never raise our hands on our women. And we will now come to the equal. You know, you can't expect yourself the women will friendly first. And you are
it's a bit muffled.
Quietly, nobody knows. And, you know, when I added to my brief, I just had to excuse myself. And I'm rough.
So sorry, I can't hear you. I hope our viewers can hear you.
There's so many things that even your wife will not permit to explain. You know, if my wife has something, if she's angry, you won't sleep with. She'll be at your head like this from 9 p.m. till 6, ranting.
I hear.
I'm so sorry, sir. So sorry, Olajide. I didn't hear what you said. I think our producers can call you back. We can hear you properly so that, because I really want to get your story. It's important we have your story.
I mean, this was talking.
So I wanted to say that, you know, sometimes it goes beyond their logic. When an abuse happens for so long, there's a pattern these abusers use. So they mix pleasure and pain, right? They abuse you today and tomorrow they apologize. And some persons will abuse you. For instance, physical abuse, they finish beating you now and the next moment you have sex. You are now beginning to attach that pain to the pleasure that comes afterward. It becomes addictive to the brain. So when you're coming as an outsider and family member to say, why is this man beating you? Why are you still in this relationship? They are so used to the dopamine they get from that experience of pleasure and pain, and they're stuck there. So it takes a lot of therapy to get that person to a point where you realize that this is not who I want to be. Rewiring that happens. So it becomes addictive. When they are telling you, he will apologize now. He did not mean it. They are making excuses for this abuser. Even the emotional one you talked about is the same thing. So today they bring you down. You are worthless. Nobody can have you. This, that. Tomorrow they show you. So they use warm and cold. They give you that pain and then they flash. They flash the excitement and love just a little. So in psychology, they call it love bombing. If you are dealing with a narcissist, for instance, they love bomb you. They love, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then they're
always the ones,
yes. They are very forceful in the love. And before you know it, before you are getting used to the love, oh, my husband, my wife, they withdraw it. Then they just flash it once in a while and withdraw it. So you are constantly waiting to see that flash. When can this flash come?
Coach BC in the building.
It's painful. And I know I've seen a lot of people around me who have gone through this. It's not what you just preach to them to say, be going. They won't get it. They won't understand it.
Because the brain has been formed, I mean, has accepted that way.
Yeah.
So you need to decode or recode or uncode for it to be able to get normal. Let me take this call from, Ola is calling from Egbeda. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am Ola from Egbeda.
Yes, you're live. Thanks for calling.
Yes, thank you very much. Incidentally, it's my first time on this program.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, this topic we are treating today, I think it's a very cogent point. And I think what we need to do is to go to our religious places and our traditional institutions, because this issue has a lot to do with these two institutions, the religious institutions, both the two religions, and then our traditional institutions. The both religions frown at this divorce, and our traditional institutions too frown at it. And some men are taking advantage of this, and the other way to the women who are taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
The more our churches, our mosques are frowning at divorce, the more problem we have, especially for the women. I know of about 2 ladies who died in the process. They were in the process, and they were holding on because of their position in the church. In fact, some of them are marriage coaches, and their marriage was not working too, and they had to hold on. Eventually, one of them was sick in the house. The husband traveled, left her at home. Before he saw the woman had died. By the time she confided in other ministers, they were crying for her. Eventually, she died in the process, and this is going on everywhere. Including with our men too. Like some men have said earlier, there are men going through physical and emotional abuse.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ola. I mean, these are some deep conversations we're having this morning.
Yes.
When we go on a break, we'll take you further. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ikechukwu, Sunday, Okonkwo, aka Cross. Now your intro without
wow.
So there's a name that thing that's.
I'm just drinking because you said I should drink. There's no particular answer.
You think it's only that can be wicked?
What's the answer?
Subterfuge.
Eh?
Yeah. They claim you did, but you said it just happened. That
and it's called what again?
Subterfuge.
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 So you look me finish from head to toe. You look at a person who go know what to become for such. Yeah?
The nude wasn't like a game plan. Or...
I promise you, it was actually a mistake.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Made Kuti in the view. It's still 7 of 7, and we've been doing a whole lot of protesting. The only thing that remains is just to carry placard.
It's about 5 of 7, to be honest. Because, ask your question. I have so much to speak about once we finish.
We'll not give you the time because it's 7 of 7.
I will make the time now. He said he will not ask questions about science.
No.
Neuroplasticity.
And based on
he asked a question that was subjective about high life, and he did not finalize his answer about a Kuti question where there are only 3 of us.
Editor, scratch this part out.
That could have possibly composed the music.
Editor, scratch this part out.
Stupidity is an act of ignorance.
Hey God, Made.
Was composed by which Kuti?
Femi Kuti.
Is that your final answer?
God. I'm Shimon Kuti. No, wait. Femi Kuti.
You said
Femi Kuti. Wait.
You can't be allowed.
No, you've not asked me anything.
Everyone.
You've not asked me anything.
Thanks for staying with us. As I said, we'd love to really open our phone lines and take a few calls. We have some comments on social media we'd like to take right now as we await some of the calls. I would really like to hear from women this morning. I know men have called so far, but it would be great to hear from women. Yes, Mariam.
So go ahead.
No, she'll read it.
This Olabisi says, a narcissist will choke you with love and disappear unawares. Andrew in Stratham says, those are very wicked men, narcissistic person.
But are they really wicked men or they are sick? Because some of these men actually are not wicked. They are good-hearted people. They are kind. You will see them with their brothers, their siblings. They are good people, but there's something that happened. There was a loose bolt growing up somewhere, some experience that caused them to behave that way. So it's not like they are bad people. They are also cannot. They can't control their emotions. They don't have any other way to show love. That's all they know. Some of them have been rape victims themselves. They were molested as some people. I'm just saying that they also are sick. We shouldn't assume that they're wicked. Could they also go back to also get some healing before they get into the
I watched recently, there's a coach that talks about relationships, not just marital, but all kinds of relationships. And he was saying that many narcissists are nurtured. They are raised by parents. So, and that it's not like any trauma. Yeah. It's that you're raising your child, and usually narcissists are children that are raised with so much praise for nearly doing nothing. And they were given everything they wanted anytime they asked for it. So if you're raising those sort of people, when they become adults, they would constantly want what they want, how they want it, however they want it, to your own detriment. It's about them, because they've been raised to think that life is about them. Yeah. And so that is where, you talk about the narcissist. But for me, I think the conversation should really be about what can a woman recognize, especially when it's not physical. Like, what can she see that she recognizes that this is not good for me? This, even though it's making me sad, but this is definitely a no-no. This is completely a red flag. Because the reason I say this, someone may be listening and say, is it not obvious? It makes me unhappy. No, because we're constantly, at least with women, we're constantly trying to rationalize many things. We're constantly trying to excuse behavior. We blame ourselves some. In fact, society will tell us, oh, it's because you're about to be on your period, so you're overreacting, you're too sensitive. And because you're constantly rationalizing and giving excuses, you are unaware that you are truly going through serious abuse. So for me, the conversation would be, what are those things that a woman can point out, or if they point it out to you, that you would say to yourself with all confidence, okay, now I agree, I'm in a toxic relationship, I'm in a bad relationship. And I also want to use the conversation with the two men that called, especially the very first caller, when he said that we should talk about men as well. And he says that it's hard for men to leave. When he gave his examples, I appreciate what he's going through and the examples he gave, where he said he can't live because of church, can't live for his children. But the difference between him and a woman is that it is still a personal decision he's making. So a woman may decide based on church and her children not to leave, but there's also society that she has to also face. So a man is likely to run into empathetic arms of society. Like, we understand, in fact, you're a man to have gone through what you have gone through. A woman will go through all these things and still come out to society that will judge her for not being even more patient or long-suffering enough.
Well, let me pause you for a second, because I like us to address, and I hate to focus on church, because it's not only church things that happen. But let's talk about the last caller's point, a deaconess. Maybe a marriage counselor. You have helped examples with those, or you have pastors' wives who have led people to God.
Or
maybe
big gospel singers.
Sorry?
Big gospel singers.
Big gospel singers. People who have been used by God, and they feel like, how do I live my marriage? What would the congregation say? What would my followers say? My women's society, all those I've been speaking to, and have all found God through me. How would I tell them I'm leaving my husband? These women are going through some serious things that they don't even know how to find help, how to seek help, and they just resort to prayer. They keep praying, they keep fasting. I know somebody who fasted and prayed on this matter for years. After a while, she told herself she's leaving. She had to leave, and God then blessed her with another husband. That one too flopped. God blessed her with another husband. She's on number 3 right now.
Amen.
And she's happy. Amen. She's happy.
She's a charm,
So
they say.
God will not do for us what we can do for ourselves. He will never do it. He has given you all that is pertaining to life and godliness. He has given you logic. He has given you emotional intelligence. He has given you the ability to think and process for yourself. And ask yourself critical questions. Is this serving me? Is this working for me? Do I panic anytime my husband is coming back home? Is that the life I want to live for the next 20 years? Because I don't want people to say, I'm a deaconess, I'm pastor's wife. I've led so many people to church. And that's also because of the way the church judges the people they are supposed to help grow. So if something happens and, you know, the marriage doesn't work out, instead of people to embrace you with love, try to understand where you're coming from. They put you down, they gossip about you, they say you're falling, you're not a sinner. They are now the judge and the jury. They condemn you when Christ has not condemned you. So you need, as a Christian, for those people who are in that space, I've never been in that space where I would consider an outsider before myself. If it doesn't work for me, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to carry my bag and take a walk because it's me first. And we need to understand and help ladies begin to love themselves. When you love yourself, it's not as if you are going to be doing silly things.
I have to pause you because Hassan has been holding for a while.
Okay.
Hassan from Lekki, I do apologize for keeping you.
Can I guess what Hassan is going to say?
Good morning, Hassan.
Everybody.
Morning.
Please, I can see that the whole thing is segmented. Are you people talking from the Christianity point of view or generally? So that I can chip in something to you about this issue.
General. The last point was specifically about deaconess, but we'll be speaking from 10:05 concerning women who have situations in generally, women who are in this kind of situations, and why why divorce is so not encouraged.
Without any religious biases.
Yeah.
So let me chip in something to you here. You see, in Islam, God allows divorce, but God detests divorce. And God knows why. And in Islam, a man can divorce. A woman can seek for divorce. You can see that everyone has a right. A man can divorce. A woman can seek for divorce. If there are irreconcilable differences,
right.
God enjoins us to have this matrimonial harmony. Two are better than one. That is why God detests this kind of reckless divisions. You just decide to wake up on the other side and you now decide to divorce your husband.
Thank you very much, Hassan. I just saw a message now. It said, Mariah, you ladies are encouraging divorce. I'm very disappointed.
Wow.
And that's why I started this conversation, saying that we have been one to actually extol the virtues and morals of a good marriage. But the truth is that there are situations where both men and women are in their need of some kind of space and air and the separation from these experiences they're going through in their marriages. And this is a conversation we must have. So we're not in any way saying we're against marriage. We're just saying that if there is need for divorce, please, we must begin to introduce the conversation that it is to normalize this option. So that women and men can begin to take this option if you to save their lives and their sanity.
Yes, and I also said when we started that I naturally don't like to advise people to do what they need to do. I expect that at some point, you know when it gets to this point that you can no longer do it. But we must table all of the options so that you know that the options are there when you're ready for it. But I wanted to harp on something. You know, I like the fact that Miriam explained the narcissistic, you know.
Definition.
Yes. But there are two. There's one that is narcissistic tendencies. Somebody has that. Then there's one that's called NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. which I see with most of the people who are into this kind of relationship, that one has no cure. Because there's a wiring in the brain that has touched. And I'm serious. I've seen some life coaches who are narcissistic, who are self-aware that they are, and they coach you on how to deal with them, and they're suffering from it. They're packed up, their relationship is no longer working, but they're helping other people know how to deal with these people. So you choose two things. Either you stay there and endure for the rest of your life, or you take a walk, because they can never change. That wiring has been, is a long process to begin to define it. But she also pointed something where we're going to be leading this conversation to. What do you see that would help you either avoid this person or know not to get married to this person? One of the fastest things that can spot it for you is when somebody gaslights you. And this is not just for romantic relationship, even in friendships. So when somebody presents their pain, this is what you have done to me. I don't like this. And the person does not take responsibility for causing you that pain. But the person wants you to, the person tells you, you are not supposed to feel that pain. That's not what I meant. So they invalidate the pain that you are feeling. Manipulate you. You're not confused in your head like, I overreacted, or I underreacted, or what is going on. That's serious gaslighting. And that is what some of these abusers use to hook you. So you catch this person in this bad thing they have done, you tell them about it, and they say, no, that's not the intention. They are not apologizing for how you are feeling. They are invalidating that feeling. When somebody does it to you one time, second time, third time, you know that relationship needs to pack up, because you cannot be in that space where somebody constantly makes you feel like you are not okay. You don't know what you're saying. You don't remember the events currently. They tell you your memory is short. You can't remember what has happened.
And all these words are like sowing seed. They gradually begin to lay foundations in your mind. Before you know it, it now becomes who you are. You now believe
Second guess yourself.
Now believe it. Let's take a few comments on social media. No woman has called yet. I'm really hoping that one or two women will call before the end of the show. Let's take a few comments on social media so that we can have some more perspective on this. Okay. This is indeed, go ahead.
Vicky says, well said, Miriam, self-love. Andrew says, we are beginning to have too many topics on sadness, bitterness, and divorce in marriage on your view. We need to pick ourselves up by having positive topics at times. Please give us some topics so that we will know. Corey says, of course, you're women to divorce while still in your marriages. While you're still in your marriages enduring. I don't understand.
Okay,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I like the way you said we're not against marriage. We're just saying that there are some situations where you can seek divorce. So there are two different things. Marriage in itself is a good thing, and we encourage it and we celebrate it. So you can actually have these two conversations at the same time, where there are good marriages, and then we recognize that there are some people who are in a marriage that's not exactly a marriage. And I find that some people would say these things because they are not the ones in it, or it's not a family member that we're speaking about. Many people have very strong opinions about enduring, and then when they see a sister who they know, or a child that they've birthed, going through that, they can't stand it. Then they finally see. So I would say that maybe you have not reached that point, and I hope you never ever get to the point or ever see anyone close to you going through that. But there are people in there today. They're in toxic marriages. They feel like no one will understand, because they will go out and they read messages like this, like, why are you encouraging divorce? So what do we give people? When someone falls down a hole, what do we give the person? What hope do we give the person that the person can come out of it? When the person has gone through therapy. So remember the first story we referred to, they have been through therapy. They came out and they said, even after therapy, in fact, it was therapy that opened their eyes. They realized this is not going to work. We need to understand that some marriages were not meant to happen. Some marriages have become toxic. Some marriages have become worse. You have turned the two people involved, the husband and the wife, or both of them, into versions of themselves that they do not like and they hate. In situations like that,
and
is
that in
an
itself
option, and that's what
also
we're saying.
provides bad children, which now contributes into the society. So we have to find a way to nip it in the bud early. Let me take this call. Yemi, who's calling him Ogba. Good morning, Yemi. You're live. Hello, Yemi from Ogba. Thanks for calling. Morning. Oh, woman. Yay, we can hear you.
I really thank you for this topic this morning. And then I would like to say, I would like to tell every lady out there and every man out there that before marriage, the time for courtship is for you to study yourself. There are different red lights, you know. There are different things that will make you know that this person, if this person can do this now, he might do worse. I had a friend that got married to somebody that had, you know, a personality disorder that the man is on drugs, right? You know, at first she thought she could cope, but when she saw that this is his nature, this is who he is, he's not going to change.
Won't change.
You know, she had to leave. Wow. Even at first, I was like, oh, let's pray, let's be patient. But when I saw what she was going through, I was like, okay, sister, you have my support. Whatever makes you happy, you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's
you know,
touching.
There was something that one of the callers said. He said, you're in a marriage and you wish the person cheats on you instead of what you're going through. And I've heard it before, where someone has said, when we're watching our show, says, I wish my problem was that my husband was cheating. Honestly, that was
easier,
you know,
to deal with.
I wish that was even my issue. I feel like I'll be able to handle that. But when you're dealing with someone that is constantly emotionally abusing,
I also like to address the comment that says that, well, you guys are enduring your marriage and asking people. See, when we keep putting that narrative out there, we wouldn't help those who are in need. Because people will just be, they would rather keep quiet and mind their business. But we're not going to do that. I'm not going to cower because somebody says, oh, because you are enduring. There's nobody enduring any marriage anywhere. Everybody, it's a process. Nobody has any perfect marriage anywhere. Everybody is a work in progress. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, they are lying. If you leave this one, there is worse on the other. So everybody is doing some kind of life management. However, for us to keep quiet and not help those people who are in need, who actually need to exist, so that we're not called out, then they show that that's not why they should exist. We're here to express views and give people, women, men, family, society options. That
And
you know,
even if we were enduring the marriage, the day we still tire us now. All these things we're teaching, the day it gets here, we will execute people. So we're helping ourselves as well as helping other people. But let me just put this here because I know time is out. If you insist on staying in that marriage because you want to, you're looking at your children, and we said this over and over, you realize that if their father is narcissistic or is the mother that is narcissistic or the abuser, whoever the partner is, you will raise children who will take after it.
Absolutely.
You will raise children who will become abusive to their own partners tomorrow, who will become narcissistic to their own partner. Every narcissistic parent raises narcissistic children. So they may have just one who decides to be different, maybe becomes an empath, because two of them are like opposites. One person will now choose to focus on humanity, and another chooses to focus on self. But you will raise dysfunctional children. And that's why we say, you need to be sure that you are whole in yourself to be able to raise whole children. And if you are not there, you can get professional help. You can get therapy. You can start. If you recognize that it's the one that the wiring, there's nothing they can do about it, you can opt to take a walk. And we will still love you. You're first of all a complete human being without any attachment to anybody. Marriage does not define anybody. Your purpose is your purpose and God has given it to you. You can still fulfill your purpose without being attached to any man or any woman. Let's normalize these conversations. We are human beings first of all.
I don't think we can end more than that. That's a perfect roundup to this show. We have to round up. That's all we can take on today's show. I hope we learned a few things. And it's a start of many more conversations. As we said, maybe the next time we talk about it, we'll flip it because there are women who are giving their husbands hell. Trust me, I know a few too. That the husbands are just keeping quiet. They can't talk because they're also leaders in church. How would this say that our pastor's wife has slapped his face? Hey, and he's them. You know. So if we hear this situation, they send us DMs all the time. So these are conversations we will have and continue to have because the truth is that this life is one. I mean, it's so fickle. So any little thing you can go. You can go. So the little time we have, let's live the best quality life that we can. That's all we can take on today's show. See you tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Friday. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.